Okay, let's go. We got a review for the Fat Frequency X HBB DEUCE. This is a collaboration between myself and Fat Frequency. The goal behind this was to have the most affordable Maestro series IEM that you could have, and the most balanced but still impactful member of the Maestro family. They added something that you see on top of the box that made it like a lot of the previous releases, but that was an added extra by the company. Wasn't part of my thing, so I'm going to review my tuning without that, but I'll talk about that at the end. The low frequency, if you're a subscriber, go ahead and comment below, and I'm going to pass the set that you're looking at right now to somebody who is a supporter of my channel by subscribing, commenting, engaging, liking the video if you actually like it, and does the same on the unboxing channel. Thank you for your support. The drops on something like Big Boy Killed You that I got right here, I'm listening to Ice Cube right now. Wu-Tang Clan, Tupac, Ghetto Boys, stuff like that. That's a critical part of my library. That had to sound right, and it actually does. There's no problem there. 4 and 5 string bass guitar, pulls, plucks, ringing of strings, all sound good and natural. It was one of the focused instruments during the development. This really, the rhythm section, the drum kit and the bass guitar were critical as they relate to vocals. So I think that the bass guitar, 4 and 5 string in my library, citations being the Doobie Brothers Taking It to the Street, Please Do Not Go by the Violent Femmes, and Dire Straits, Sultans of Swing are 3 particular ones that you could focus on when you get the set, because that's what I was focusing on. It sounded great. The drum kit, particularly the kick drum by Bonham on the 4th album by Led Zeppelin, When the Levee Breaks, it's a very much produced kick drum, and it sounds like it is on the replay of this. As we move into vocals, Chris Cornell, Lane Staley, Nina doing the cover of Blondie, Heart of Glass. This and how it balances with the rhythm section was really why 6 to 7 samples were sent back and forth. I believe it was 7 actually, and 2 of them were sent back. So this wasn't like, can you adjust the graph on your side and I'll adjust mine, and we were sending physical samples that allowed me to take a look on the inside and get a look at what bass canon V2 actually is, and it is unique to the hobby. I don't know anything else that's doing that. The vocals, Chris Cornell, Lane Staley, and Blondie doing the cover of Heart of Glass sound good. They sound clean. They're not overly encroached by the low frequency, though that sounds natural. That was really that's what took the time, was what is that actually. And also, I'm going to stop right here and hopefully I'll pick up correctly because I don't script myself. This is really based around, the first set that I said to grab was the Moondrop Variations, because I like the way that was tuned, but I don't like BAs, and I wanted it to slam harder. Comparing this with that set, let me see if I've got it right here. The goal was, according to my DMs, and I might share that, but I'll blur out Fat Frequency, of course. What exactly was the goal? The goal was to have the most affordable Fat Frequency. It was to not have balanced armatures, and it was to have a tuning that was kind of like the Variations, which don't feel bad because, according to Discord conversations that I saw during the time, they took inspiration from the original Monarch, which was very much promoted by one of their favorite reviewers named Critical. And they were somewhat inspired by that. It happens all the time in the hobby. You see something, you think, that's a great idea. I'd like to do a little something different, but that's almost there. That was me looking at Variations and wanting more hammer. And because of the way that they do the dynamic driver and how it's presenting and how it's being tuned, you don't have to really add more mid bass. You just get the force through the driver because of how it's venting and how it's porting out the sound to you, and also how it's crossed over. And again, Fat Frequency can speak to that as much as they're comfortable with, but it is a unique thing. So the vocals and the bass are great. Probably the undersold thing about this, or I don't know that I've talked about it myself, but the overtones and harmonics of this set, guitar, electric and acoustic, rides and crash cymbals, keyboards, pianos, stuff that jumps out at me on the ELO Greatest Hits, or essentially Greatest Hits album. This is a set that you can listen to for long periods of time in its default configuration, so you can get all your low frequency. You can go across multiple genres, which was the goal, and listen for long periods of time. And it's got a very unique wide stage presentation, which I thought that the EJ07 tuning was like a key. This kind of does something like that, and I have to reevaluate exactly where does that come from with earplugs, because these are blocking out all ambient sound, but sometimes you can feel like you're getting a wide presentation, which is a psychoacoustic illusion. But what is that down to? I have to reevaluate that, because I'm not the only person that's heard that with this set. I don't know what that comes down to. Rank, if I remember to put this up, shamelessly hype it, of course, because it's my collab. Now I want to talk about the set. You can check out right now. Of course, I wreck it. And also thank you to the people that went ahead and purchased this. And also thank you for your patience. I want to talk about a couple things. One is, I'm going to take the blue out. Just a second here. So the red is the variations, and the yellow is the graph that I graphed yesterday. And excuse me, but the variations is not quite at 8K. If it was, these would be really, really close to being the same thing, but slightly forward. What I wanted was something that hit harder without BAs, and we nailed that. We didn't need to push up more mid-bass because of the way that Fat Frequency, anybody that's bought a Fat Frequency knows that they know what they're doing. And it applies to this, and though a couple samples needed, or it seemed like they needed more mid-bass, we started to get into the territory. It was starting to have diminishing returns in quality and becoming more and more of a bass head set and less of what I was envisioning, which was something that will play male and female vocals but give you the rhythm section at the same time. So like the Variations was a retake of the Monarch original, this is my take of the Variations, which is a take of the Monarch. So it's a continuation of that. With Fat Frequencies tech applied, you don't really need to move the mid-bass. It was done. We did try it, but it was really not necessary. Now, there is an impedance optimizer or adapter that turns this into just a really kind of like a Scarlett Mini. And this wasn't something that I requested, but the company, so a couple of people pointed out and said, oh, they couldn't get to their thing, which was 25 dB. My DMs don't have 25 dB in it anywhere. Like, you can search chats and put in something. I never said anything like that. That would be ridiculous, because that's the same as having a Scarlett Mini. I said very clearly that I want something like the Variations without any balanced armatures and more slam. I think that plays back male and female vocals good, but I needed a little more energy with the kick drum. That was pretty much how this started, and what they could listen to and get an idea of what my goal was. That's the baseline, and then we prove it. It wasn't Crinical's set, which was the start of my fascination with 2DDs. It was the Variations, which turned out to be what I wanted them to purchase, and they did, and they measured it, and we went from there. So if you listen to what I just reviewed, you're going to hear what I just described. If you use the impedance optimizer adapter, you're going to get very much like a Scarlett Mini, which is a slammy set. But as that graph indicates, you're going to lose the vocal quality, and the whole point of keep the rhythm section in the rhythm section and the vocals not be overpowered by them. So I have mixed feelings about it. I'm glad that you have the option to have what I wanted, or another Maestro series that's really already exists with the Scarlett and the Maestro Mini, but is $200 cheaper than both of those. So as I say this out loud in the video, because I don't script myself, I'm more and more getting kind of what they're doing here. They're bringing down a very popular set that was limited by production at the time and also by price, and making it a co-option on a popular set that is more affordable. So they're taking their bass Canon V2 and making it more affordable and getting back their per unit margin in volume of sales. So I can get it. But don't confuse that with this is what it was supposed to be, because that thing that says 25 dB on the back was not my idea. Because the Scarlett exists, and putting my logo on a Scarlett V2 would be just ridiculously, and I don't think that would sell. And you got to remember that blue line that you're looking at didn't really exist until quite recently, as far as being measured, shared publicly. Most of the sales were based on that and the word of mouth that came from CanJam UK. People that don't have any skin in the game and said, oh, that sounds dope. And then a bunch of people pulled the trigger. Around 6,000 of you did. Nobody's done any videos saying this is a bass monster, because its original intention wasn't. It was supposed to be the most balanced version of and in the Maestro series. Something different, and no BAs, and the most affordable entry-level piece of kit that you can get into Fat Frequency that happens to also be a collaboration, when the word is that collaborations are a tax that you have to pay when you're looking at a set that is the most beautiful they've made, and I think sounds arguably better than things that are a couple $100 more that are in their stable and has the latest bass technology. So all of the goals that I wanted were reached, and then in addition to that, they decided to make their core audience, which is Stone Cold Bass Heads, which I'm a member of, and please them too. That's cool. I'm fine with that. The issues, I guess, 25 dB, you're giving people something to point at and say, hey, when the Scarlett doesn't even hit 20. Let me put that up. It's got a little bit more. So that's on 80, and let's say we're on 60. That's 20 dB. It's not 25, and that's the Scarlett Mini. And that doesn't have a lot more bass really than this one with the impedance adapter. So this is very much, I think, a higher quality bass, and it sounds like it's got more vibe than the Scarlett Mini, and it's $200 cheaper. I think it's more than $200 cheaper. So it sounds like everybody's winning. I couldn't understand really the point of the impedance adapter because it seemed like a distraction, but it's a market move, and it's a clever one if the numbers are anything to go by, and actually that's what you should always go by, is the numbers. So that's the set. The 25 dB, let that go in future stuff. Don't undersell and over-deliver is such a good phrase. And giving something to be pointed at just doesn't seem to make any sense, especially when it's not even needed and it wasn't even requested. Also, a larger staff would help out. Now that you guys are getting huge, you need to match that with employees so that all of the things that need to be paid attention to are in fact paid attention to. And people don't start to ding you because of customer service, not because you're bad people, because everybody knows you are, but because you're overwhelmed with so many inquiries. It would be worth it to invest for success, which is increasing the staff size. Thank you guys for your hard work. I appreciate it. Everything that I requested came true. You added your own thing to, and I get it. Good. And it looks like a stunner. And I think all of the people are going to be happy, probably except reviewers, because that's what I won't get into that, but I'm sure the hot takes are coming. I think they're thirsty. You guys enjoy yourselves. It's already built its own momentum. And some of you might actually come right out and say you love it, because it is quite a lovable set in one or the other configurations. And I am out. You guys have a great weekend.